Meanwhile, the lower house is expected to pass a resolution that will realign some 13 billion pesos in remaining pork barrel funds for the 2013 for the rehabilitation of the typhoon-hit areas in the Visayas. This was disclosed by Speaker Sonny Belmonte. The details from Freddie Abando.
Despite the trials of facing the tragedy and tears of Yolanda's impact, our people in Eastern Visayas have shown the courage to overcome the odds and picking up the pieces of what's left of their lives and move on to build their future. This was disclosed by Speaker Feliciano Belmonte, who joined the President when he visited Giwan in Eastern Samar to inspect the government's relief operations with the support of the international community.
They also had a casualty there. Out of about 48,000 people, mga slightly less than 100 were killed. But nonetheless, it was a very welcome thing because the town had a fighting spirit. Okay. Fighting spirit in town. Everybody was upbeat that they'll get up again, and their mayor also was a terrific person. So yun ang kauna-unahan namin kwan. That was our first stop.
Belmonte disclosed the House will pass a resolution which will realign 13 billion pesos of the remainder of the Priority Development Assistance Fund for 2013 to the Calamity Fund, which will boost the government's relief and recovery efforts in the typhoon-devastated areas. The said fund has been frozen by the Supreme Court's temporary restraining order. If the High Tribunal rules that the PDAF is unconstitutional, Belmonte said they will file a resolution to augment the Calamity Fund.
We'll have to find out which one is the quickest way of doing it, because we remember that we don't have all the time in the world, no? Whichever one is, but this time we want to pass this one to show that that is exactly where we want to put the money. And secondly, if for any reason it turns out that we cannot do that for some technical reason, then we will file immediately file a bill for a supplemental budget covering the same amount.
For next year's budget, the Speaker said they will propose an additional rehabilitation fund of 20 billion pesos. Congressman Martin Romualdez filed a resolution calling for the establishment of a Visayan Rehabilitation Commission, which will implement the massive reconstruction program for areas devastated by Yolanda in the Visayan region. He also proposed an initial funding of 20 billion pesos. Romualdez expressed the gratitude of his constituents to the President and the support of the international community.
I therefore call upon my distinguished colleagues in this chamber now to extend the highest priority to the consideration of the passage of House Resolution number 467, filed earlier by this humble representation together with my colleagues, authorizing the use of the 30 billion pesos from the unspent portion of the 268 billion Special Purpose Fund, and as may be determined from the 117 billion of the Unprogrammed Fund of the 2013 General Appropriations Act for relief, rehabilitation, reconstruction, and other works in areas affected by natural calamities in accordance with the procedure and distribution system of the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council and or the relevant task forces or commission created for the above stated purposes.
In the meantime, Capiz Congressman Freddie Castro made an appeal for relief operations for his constituents. Aside from food, Castro called for construction materials which will enable his people to rebuild their homes. Castro said Yolanda's fury and force leveled thousands of homes in his province.
Capiz will never be the same after the Typhoon Yolanda. Capiz now is a place of misery. Dahil walang puso ang matigas na hindi magdarandam sa kung ano ang makikita niya sa probinsya ng Capiz. Because of the damage to the houses in the whole province of Capiz, people are begging if there are donors who are kind enough to donate housing materials. They are appealing to everybody that they can't stomach the sense of food because people and the Filipinos are resilient against hunger and they can survive, but their family will not survive without houses, and they prefer housing materials instead of food.
For the People's Television Network, this is Freddie Abando reporting.